If you clicked on this, you might be wondering what is the best way to build your app idea using an AI coding tool like Replit, Lovable, Bolt or V0. It can be really tough because the output that you get depends massively on the quality of that first prompt that you put in. And so today I want to take you through my framework step by step for building that first prompt so that you can get as close to your MVP as possible in just one prompt. My name is Chris, and for the last 15 years, I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design, and I believe the next wave of incredible products and incredible businesses are going to be built by people using these AI coding tools. And what I want to do at the end of this video is put my prompt into Replit so that you can see what it creates, see how close it gets to an MVP, and so let's get into the framework and go through it step by step.
Build great product. Build great product.
So this is my Notion template that has my framework for creating the first prompt that you put into an AI coding tool like a Lovable or a Replit to get as close to your MVP as possible. And the reason that you want to do a really, really good first prompt is that you get diminishing returns with a lot of AI tools because it has the context of your previous conversations. So often the best output that you're going to get is off the back of that first prompt. So you want to make sure that that first prompt that you're putting in is really, really, really good. One thing that I'm going to do at the end of this video, so that you stick around, is to put the example prompt that I've got here into Replit so that we can see what it builds off the back of that and hopefully get something that's really close to an MVP of an app that could actually be launched. And the example app idea that I'm going to be creating is a web app that lets you create ad variants when you upload an ad creative, and that would be for a fixed price or a subscription basically. So if I'm creating an ad that I want to put on Facebook or Instagram, I do the design of it and then I'm going to put the JPEG into this app, and then it's going to send it off to ChatGPT, and then it's going to send me back like different variants of that ad with different creative bits, and maybe I'll add in a prompt in there so that a user can type in, oh, I want to change, just give me 10 different versions of the background or something. So that's the app that I want to create. So I'm going to go through this framework step by step, and this is just what you would write out linearly in your prompt that you're putting in. And the reason that I like using this framework is because it also gets you to think about each of these steps as you go through. So if you have an app idea and you haven't quite thought about some of the elements, it kind of forces you to think about, okay, I need to think about this thing a little bit more deeply to actually be really explicit about what you want to create instead of just kind of leaving that up to the AI. So that will help you kind of like be more detailed and specific in that first prompt. The first thing that we want to include here is the primary function for your app. So this is like, I want to create an app that lets people do X using Y. So this is what you want to let people be able to do, what you want the app to be able to do, and how you want people to be able to do it. So using the example of this ad variant app that I want to create, the example that I've put here is I want to create a web app that lets people create multiple ad variants from one ad creative using AI. So that's the first thing. The most important thing is like, what is this one thing that your app is doing? And it's really important that for the first version of an app that you're creating, you really want to focus on that one primary feature. We're not trying to create a massive application here that has tons and tons of different features. We're just trying to basically create something really simple so that we can give it to people and test if this is something that's actually going to work or not. And the key here is just being able to test this and validate the idea really, really quickly. So we want to get to as good of that first version, that first feature as quickly as possible to test if it's something that people actually want. So if they don't want it, we can just get rid of it and try a different idea instead. The second part of the prompt here that I want to add in is, how does this primary feature function? So this would be like, this should work by allowing the user to do X, going through Y steps to get Z output. So this one is really thinking about what is the user journey. I'll put that in here. So this is what is that user journey of that first feature. And if you don't know what a user journey is basically the individual steps that someone using an app or using a piece of software would go through to get to something. So it's that journey of using something. So I click this button, I upload this thing, I wait for this to happen, I go to this page, those sorts of things. So the example that I've got here for this ad variant app that I'm creating is this should work by letting the user upload one ad image file, then sending the image to ChatGPT and using the prompt generate 10 variants of this image to generate 10 more images. The user would then be asked to pay a one-off fee or subscribe and then be able to download the images. So that's our primary feature that we're creating. Quick break in the episode to talk about my design agency, Telescope. Telescope is a tailor-made design service for ambitious and early-stage startups. We've helped clients go on to raise millions, win startup awards, and unlock new product growth opportunities and new business opportunities for their startup. You can check out the link in the description or go to telescope.design to find out more. Back to the episode. I then like to add in what the name of the app is as well, just because it's, to be honest, like sometimes you can leave this up to the AI and it can come up with like quite a good name that's maybe better than one that you could have created. So if you can't think of anything, just like leave it up to the AI to figure it out. So just like leave this section out. But I usually like to tell it like, I want it to be called this, and then it will put that as like the logo in the corner and like add that into the text and stuff where it needs to be added in. So the example here is like, I want this app to be called More Variants. I'm just calling it More Variants. I think it's a cool name. The next part of the prompt is who your ideal customer is. What is the problem you're solving and why? And so I've bundled this all together because this is all about the person that you're designing the app for and what they want to get out of it. Why are they using it? So you would say like the type of customer who would benefit from this app is the demographic and the psychographic information who struggle with this problem, and we're solving it, and it because we're solving it because of why, this reason. So my example here is the type of customer I'm targeting is marketing. I want to target marketing managers who struggle to create lots of different ad variants, so that they can get those ad variants much quicker. If you don't know about like marketing teams and creating ads for like Facebook and stuff, a lot of the times people on marketing will send like design briefs off to a designer to get them to do lots of different ad creatives. But I think we can do that with AI like way quicker. So we want to help marketing managers, people working in marketing, to create lots of different ads so that they can get them much quicker and they don't have to wait for a designer. And the company also doesn't have to pay for a designer then as well. No, sorry, designers. I am a designer, so I'm putting myself out of a job here. Next, I want to tell the AI tool what I want my app to look and feel like. And you can also use references for this as well. So if you have like a screenshot, or if you go on Google Images, one really good place to get inspiration from this is a website called Mobbin, which has tons and tons of screens of like tons and tons of different apps. You can basically take an image from Mobbin of like an app that you like and then put it into these AI coding tools and it will kind of match that style. It doesn't often do it perfectly, so you might need to tweak it, and it's kind of like okay. Some of them are better than others, like V0 is much better at design than Replit is, for example, but you kind of learn that as you use the tools. And what you can do here as well is tell it what you want it to look or feel like. So give some examples of brands or styles that you like. So my example here is I want my app to look and feel fun and playful, like the Notes app or a sketchpad or a whiteboard with sticky notes on, or maybe like FigJam or Miro, which are two tools that I'm kind of referencing here. After I've told it that, I want to then include what is on the website or landing page. So a landing page would often be like the website that you go to sign up for an app. And to be clear about like this whole app thing, I'm talking primarily about apps that work in your browser. So an app that you would access through Chrome or Arc or any other browser. So what do we want that sign up page, that kind of marketing landing page to look like? And I would say I want to create a landing page that includes X, Y, and Z. And so the example I've got here is I want to create a landing page with a hero section, a how it works section, testimonials, pricing, and frequently asked questions. Those things are pretty typical for like a landing page, like a marketing website for an app. So you can kind of follow the same template here if you want to, and you would usually sign up from like a couple of different points on that page. And that goes into the next part here, which is how does a user sign up and use your app? So we want to say the user should be able to start using the app by doing X. So the example that I've got here is the user should be able to start using the app by uploading their first ad image in the hero section and clicking a button underneath named create ad variants. So in this example, I want it to be really, really simple. You land on the website, you see the top of the page, you drag and drop your image file in, and then you just click a button that says create ad variants. The next part here, which is really important, is what steps does the user go through after signing up? So what happens after they sign up? That kind of leads them into that primary feature that we described earlier in detail. So when the user signs up, they should go through these following steps. So the example I've got here, and this is the longest part of the prompt, I think, because this is this part and kind of describing how that primary feature works are the two longest bits, because you're describing like multiple steps for someone to go through and maybe multiple pages as well. So the example says when the user clicks create ad variants, they should then be taken to a page which asks them to sign up. The example here is when the user clicks create ad variants, they should then be taken to a page which asks them to sign up using Google or using an email and password. So that's another tip here as well, is to be clear about what technology, if you want to use any technology in this as well. So I want to use Google sign in for this, so I'm going to say that here. Once they sign up, they should then be taken to a pricing screen to choose their plan. So what I want to do is I want to get the user to take the action of choosing to get the ad variants. When they've put their image in and they click the button, I then want to say like you have to pay to get your ad variants sent to you. So they then get a pricing screen to choose their plan. After choosing the plan, they should pay via Stripe. So again, I've said the technology there that I want to use for payments, which is Stripe. So most of these AI coding tools will then, once they've got this prompt, they're then going to ask you for different credentials for the technologies that you want to use as well. So if you're using Stripe, it's going to ask you to go into Stripe and grab a couple of keys just to put into the AI tool so that it can connect the two things together. And then be taken to a page which shows a loading state whilst the image file the user uploaded is sent to ChatGPT. So I then want the image to go to ChatGPT to get the ad variants. After that, the ad variants that have been created are going to be sent back, and then they'll be shown on the page, which will be in the user's account. So that's how I want it to function. Again, I think this is really good to kind of get you thinking about what are those steps going to be that a user is going to get the thing or like do that thing after they sign up. Like as you kind of think about, you might have an app idea, but you might not know exactly how you want it to work. So this will kind of get you thinking about like step by step, like what am I doing? What does the user do? What do they click? Where do they go? How does it work? And if you don't know, you can kind of leave some of these bits blank, or you can actually ask these AI tools a lot of the time. You can say, oh, what would be the best way of doing this? And then it will kind of give you some suggestions. After we've added into the prompt the steps that the user is going to go through after they sign up and start using the app, we then want to kind of flesh out everything around that kind of primary feature and that sign up journey. And what that means is to kind of add in a lot of the secondary and functional features. So things like account management. So we want to say, like, the example here is the user should also be able to save the ad variants to their account. So I want them to be able to save them to their account once they've generated them. They should be able to edit their account details and also be able to manage their subscription, which would link to Stripe from their account page. So we're just adding in like all of the little functional bits. And these are things that are really, really easy to forget as well, but really, really important to how your app works, just to allow users to like be able to manage their payment plan and all of that sort of stuff. And then the last thing that I want to include here, which is really, really important, is what pricing plans are available and how does the user pay and what are the limitations of those plans. So what you want to think about here is what type of payment does a user make for using your app? Usually it's either a one-off payment or a subscription, but there are other ways that you can do it as well. So for my example here, I've said there should be two payment options: a one-off payment of $19 that lets users get ad variants once, and a subscription option of $9 a month that lets users get unlimited ad variants and save ad variants to their account. So I've told it what the pricing plan allows the user to do, and also what features are accessible by what plan. So the saving ad variants to your account is the feature that's only available to people who subscribe. And there's a lot of psychology like around pricing and pricing plans and stuff. And if you're unsure, you can always go onto like an app which is kind of similar to the one that you're creating and see what pricing are they using and kind of just copy their pricing model a little bit. The one recommendation that I would say here is that you want to try and keep it as simple as possible to start off with. So even sometimes just one payment option, just one subscription option or one-off payment is like the best place to start, because if you remember, the whole point of like creating this MVP is not to launch a perfect app, it's to really create your first version so that you can test it. And so you want it to be as simple as possible, not super complicated, because what you're going to do when you launch the app is you're going to get a sense from people of like, is this something that people actually want to use? And so we want to minimize the amount of time that we're spending building this up front to try and get that feedback as quickly as possible. And then once we know that this is something that people actually want to pay for and use, we can then start to build in those extra pricing plans, those extra features, improving the experience, all of that other stuff which goes into making something that's really, really good. Finally, here we have this full prompt which I've created, which is all of the sections of this. It looks really, really long, but it's really, really detailed and it's very, very tangible, and it includes all of the context that we need and all of the steps that a user is going to be taking through this app. I would be really, really keen if you have a format for prompts that you use, or if you think any information is missing here. I would love it if you said in the comments like any extra bits that you find useful, any stuff that you like to put in these prompts, because I've probably missed some stuff here. I'm not like the guru on this stuff. This is just kind of what I do that I thought would be helpful to go through. So any extra information is great. So let's take this prompt, pop it into Replit, see what it builds and whether it's going to get close to the MVP version of this app. All right, we're in Replit and I'm going to paste in my prompt that we put together through that framework for this app idea called More Variants, to create ad variants for marketing people. So yeah, let's paste it in. So I've pasted in the text that I want to use as a prompt. It's just come in here as like pasted text attachment. So hopefully that will work. I've also copied and pasted in a reference image that I want to use for the UI. So hopefully it will follow that for the UI as well, because I've referenced that in the prompt that I've created. So let's click start building and then I'll come back once it's built something and see what we've got. Now I've put this prompt into Replit, it's looked at the prompt and it's gonna ask me, how do I want to build this and what do I want to include? Replit also suggests like adding in additional features as well, which is quite nice because sometimes you forget things in the prompt and you do want to add it in. So ability to create brand kits with preset styles and templates. It's quite nice, but I think that's quite a complex idea that would need some more definition if I wanted to put it in. So I would generally like recommend here, it's quite tempting to add in like these additional features that it does suggest, but if they are things that are too complicated, they can sometimes like take away from that one kind of key feature that we're trying to build. And remember, like we're just building one kind of key feature, a very simple app to test, and so we don't always need like, it's very easy to get drawn into these features, but you don't have to select them. I would probably recommend against it. Advanced image customization options before generation I think that would be quite good. I'm going to add that one in because I do think that what this is missing is like some control over the variants that I want to create. And so I'm going to add that in there. It's telling me here as well, it's going to take like 2 minutes to get a preview together, and then the first app is going to take 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to approve this plan in Replit, and then we're going to come back once this has built something. So this is the output that Replit has created off the back of my first prompt. I have another question that I had asked it here because it was giving me an error from something when I was testing it before as well. So what I would suggest is that you can see that it's pretty close to what I asked it for. It's a bit maybe like too playful for what I wanted to go for, but you can see that it's got like, you've got your landing page here with create 10 times more ad variants in seconds. You upload your ad image here and click create ad variants, and then that will create them for you. It's got this like weird overlaid post-it, so like something of like the layout and stuff isn't 100% like great, but it does have a lot of the content on the sections here that I wanted to add. So like how it works, upload your ad, AI magic, download and use, great. What our users say, so we've got like space for testimonials here. Obviously this doesn't have any testimonials yet, so I might just remove this section before actually launching anything. Frequently asked questions, and then a call to action at the bottom, which is great. And you've got like, there are like these other pages here. I'm gonna wait until agent finishes so that I can have a look at this updated version. You can see with what this has created here that most of this stuff is working just off the back of this first prompt and a few fixes back and forth with the agent. I can add my image here and then click create ad variants. That will ask me to log in or register, so I can register there with my email address or click Google to sign up. I've also got a pricing page which has the pricing options for the one-time purchase or monthly subscription, and some common questions there off the back of that. What I'd need to do now is to just go through and use all of the features of this product, of this app, just to make sure that everything works, and then just keep prompting back and forth with Replit just to fix anything that comes up, any errors that happen, just to make sure that everything works here. So that was my full framework for putting together your first prompt to put into AI coding tools like Replit, Lovable, or Bolt to get the best version of that MVP of your app. Obviously you have to follow up and you have to go through and fix any errors, but what you do have is the foundations of an app there, and everything kind of scaffolded out that's ready for you to start kind of iterating on top of, rather than kind of building these chunks in steps. It makes it a lot easier to start with something really, really solid as the foundation for your app, and then just to fix any issues on the top of that. So hopefully you found that framework helpful. If you have any improvements to this, or you have anything else that you add to your prompts in AI tools, then just let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. Otherwise, if you liked this, then subscribe to the channel or go over to buildgreatproducts.com to sign up for my newsletter for a new product teardown every single week. Thank you, and see you next time.
Build great products. Build great products.